The entire history of Fortnite Chapter 2, let's jump in starting with the 15th of October, the day after the Black Hole event. Chapter 2's island was born and everything was ready to go. From iconic POIs from Frenzy Farm, Lazy Lake, Misty Meadows, Steamy Stacks and so much more. For some this season was their first, and for many it was one of the most iconic openings to any Fortnite season. We jump in and take a little look at some of the updates. Throughout this season there was many delays, but the first update arrived on the 29th of October, coming in with the Fortnitemares update, and this actually introduced the Storm King with cube monsters as well roaming around, allowing for a whole Fortnitemares event to take place straight away within the season launch. It wasn't the best Fortnitemares, but it was an exciting one to have the Storm King inside a battle royale. Also, the entry sign at Sweaty Sands was completed as well, which was kind of one of the first major map changes of this chapter. We're not going to go over every map change in little details, but we'll mention some of the main POIs and loot pools. The loot pool in Chapter 2 was a brand new refresh, even introducing new items which took up 2 slots in your inventory, like the bandage bazooka. We had fishing, we have the harpoon gun, we had all consumables which were now throwable, we even had fish, and probably the most iconic item in the loot pool was the mythic goldfish, which was super rare and almost impossible to find, but if you did find it, it would one-shot players. And to be honest, there was so much hype around this weapon. Most of the weapons in this chapter were just upgrade on the design wise at the initial release, allowing for different designs for legendary snipers, legendary pistols, and so much more. The next update we got was the version 11.20. Inside of here, it mainly removed Fortnitemares with map changes like the Hey Boo store closing and just a rework to the scoped AR. Other than that, there was nothing major. It wasn't until all the way late December when we finally got our first major live event and the Winterfest stuff all taking place. This was when the Star Wars stuff took place. Winterfest and Star Wars was huge. Inside of this season, we had a live event which was Star Wars themed. We'll look at the Star Wars stuff first. With the Star Wars live event taking place, we all chilled and watched a little preview of the up and coming Star Wars film, and then eventually we gained access to lightsabers and the First Order blaster rifle, the first ever Star Wars collaboration inside of Fortnite. Also, this update introduced the lump of coal as well. Then it unvaulted a bunch of other Christmas stuff, and it wasn't until later on during this update that we finally got Crackshot's cabin and all the presents which we could open and preview. This was the first major Christmas update we got in Fortnite. Also, we got the reintroduction of lots of unvaulted items for 24 hours and lots of LTMs as well reappearing. It was amazing, probably the best Winterfest that a lot of people enjoyed with the presents, so I think a lot of people will have memories of this. Obviously, we had lots of map changes as well. The biggest one we had was the entire map being covered in snow around Christmas Day, which was amazing to have as a feature, just as something they used to do in Fortnite throughout Chapter 1. After this, we had 2 more updates, the 11.40 and the 11.50. Both of these updates were just smaller map changes, removing the Winterfest stuff and finally teasing the next upcoming season by changing items to gold in the very center of the map, obviously teasing that Season 2 release. Now, if you've been living underneath some sort of rock and you haven't played Toy Box for leveling up super quick, I recommend it. Everyone used it last season to get Catalina, and with XP changing in the new Chapter 2 remix, this is going to be your #1 spot for leveling up and trying all the weapons for 0 gold. That's what makes it effective. And don't forget, the secrets of 50 fashion. In the brand new season, we've got an OG themed season, which is themed around Chapter 2 remix, which is amazing. You can see a little preview of that now. And the biggest secret I've got for you guys on 50 fashion is after 16 minutes, you'll be granted XP from everywhere. Go and try them with the map codes on screen or search fashion or toy and you'll find them. Moving on to Chapter 2 Season 2, the most iconic season that people will remember from Chapter 2 in my opinion, because 1, the characters are just amazing. We had Midas, we had so much more in here. We also got the introduction of mythics, we got so many POIs, map change wise. In that first update we got 5 POIs with bosses, NPCs, vaults. Them POIs being, if you remember them, we had the agency, the rig, the yacht, the shark, and over at Dirty Docks, we also got the grotto. So these POIs were huge. We had all of the bosses in here and lots of new items being added in. Some of the most iconic ones which you may remember will be the decoy grenade, the rapid fire SMG, Sky's grappler, Sky's assault rifle, even the creeping cardboard, which I think is just hilarious, the cardboard box which you can hide in, which was never really that useful, but it was fun to have. So there's some of the most iconic things we got from this. Then, once the season was introduced, this was the start of the storyline. This season started everything, where the live event was kind of the introduction to the storyline and the lore for us during that event which we saw with the device event, which does happen later on in the season. But I just thought I'd talk about it here at the start because of how major this is for the Fortnite storyline. Without this device event, we wouldn't be where we were or got to with the Fortnite storyline in Chapter 2. It was kind of the kickstart to it all. Throughout this season, we also had lots of different unique features from different UI in the Battle Pass and different abilities to search the lobby. We also had the first ever secret skin being a collab, which they have been collabs forever really since here, which was Deadpool. We also had the introduction of different spy games which were introduced throughout the season, where you could upgrade your character's abilities on the shadow or ghost trees, which were really cool for different game modes. But let's not forget the ability to disguise yourself as henchmen using the phone booths. This was so iconic, I loved it so much. Okay, moving on to the updates. What did we get? Well, the first update was 15.10, and this is when we found out which community vote would go first for the POI. In this season, throughout the whole season, players could vote between Shadow or Ghost on each character, and the first one to change from Shadow to Ghost was the actual, I believe, Brutus, which decided to be Shadow. So more people chose Shadow Brutus, which then created that POI being Shadow themed and decorations. Also, they introduced the proximity mine in version 12.1 and introduced the rapid fire SMG. We also then got the next update, which was iconic as well because it was the first time we had a vehicle that could fly other than the plane. This was in version 12.2. This was the chopper's introduction, which was iconic for many people, and we were getting closer to Deadpool's release. We also see other POIs change as well. The rig also was taken over by Shadow in this update. The next update was one of the major updates in Chapter 2 Season 2, and this was version 12.30, which introduced crash pads and the Kingsman umbrella. This was something that people thought was a collaboration to the Kingsman film, but I wasn't too sure if it was or not. Let me know in the comments if you remember. But it's a weapon which goes forgotten a lot, so I thought I would say. And also Deadpool arrived. This is when Deadpool arrived at the yacht. He got rid of Meowscles, took over the yacht, introduced his hand cannon mythics and the key card, and there he was. Deadpool was roaming round. Then after this update, we got some major stuff happening on the island in version 12.50. Risky Reels was now a named POI, so finally we had it back. We also got no sweat insurance signs popping up all over the place, ready to tease next season, and lightsabers were back for May the 4th. And then finally, the season got extended for a bit. It took a while for it to end, and we jumped on to our last update, which was version 12.60, which introduced mainly the live event and then took us into that final bit of teasers. And not to forget one of the most iconic characters, Bud the Mushroom, who would follow you around and heal you. He was only in the game for almost less than an hour, but he's something which the community still love to this day. Then we had the live event, which is where craziness happened. Jones managed to save the day, kind of, to counter Midas's plan, and that switches into Season 3. Season 3 was here, and Jones had kind of got a mini solution to solve what was happening with Midas's plan during the event, and we jumped into this flooded season, which was amazing in my opinion. Every week we would get brand new map changes. We're not going to cover them all in here because it was almost weekly. With the water level lowering, it would reveal a new area, but some of the most iconic areas which revealed throughout the entire season were the main POIs. With the agency switching over to the authority, we also had the introduction of the Flotilla, Catty Corner and Rickety Rig were all added. The fight between Shadow and Ghost had faded mainly this season. There were references to them, but hard to find. But not impossible, because some of the main bosses were also different themes. For example, Jules had a Shadow theme over at the Authority, which was Shadow themed. But the rest of the map was a little bit more difficult to find the battle between these two. As we move further in, we did get a lot of different new items and weapons in this season. We had the bottomless Chug Jug, which was like a mythic item, which was endless Chug Jug, which was crazy. We also got Jules' glider gun, which to this day is still bugged and creative, with lots of people using it to use the glider cancel bug. And yeah, just lots of other smaller items added in, like corn, cabbage, hunting rifles, epic and legendary variant, charge shotgun, and just smaller little changes to stuff like Kit's shockwave launcher and the introduction of Ocean's burst assault rifle. We also got a bunch of unvaults as well, but let's move ahead and go into our next update which we received. So it was actually a small minor update introducing fireflies. These were an iconic item which was quite exciting. It was just showing off some lighting features as well. Something that Fortnite always does, for those that don't know, and it's worth mentioning, is they bring features into the game to feature upcoming Unreal Engine stuff to sell to other companies or show off their features so people will use the Unreal Engine. This is something that Fortnite has done since the start, and that's why the graphics have improved. They're always ahead of the public release of Unreal Engine, and it's something which a lot of Fortnite players never really consider or think about. If you actually watch a lot of videos on the Unreal channel, you will actually find them talking about features which aren't public and are available in Fortnite. I thought I'd mention this point here because this really does influence the way Fortnite does go with updates in the future, especially during Chapter 2 all the way to Chapter 5 today. If you're a little bit confused what the Unreal Engine is, it's basically a piece of software which Epic Games makes, and they made Fortnite in it. So yeah, that's what it is. It's just like a programming software kind of game development stuff. Anyway, let's move over to our next update, which was the major update which we got in here, which was the introduction of version 13.2. This added in the flare gun, the upgrade bench, and the golden mushroom, which would give you full health and shield. These were quite major, and lots of other smaller map changes were taking place throughout this season, with the water getting lower and lower. The next update we got was new mechanics like the flare gun now lights campfires, which is just so random, and also more smaller map changes. Finally, one of the best updates, and maybe one of the worst updates as well for many iOS players, was version 13.40. If you don't know already, iOS players, this was their last ever update and still is to this day on many devices. iOS Fortnite is slowly making a return, with Epic's battle between Apple still continuing to this day, with lots of different courts and places around the world making decisions on what they're going to do to stop Apple's monopolistic competition. Well, with that being said, still, many devices, including myself, are still stuck in Chapter 2 Season 3 and have been now for many years. But let's not forget cars. They were introduced in this update, the most iconic vehicles finally added to Fortnite, the ability to drive something around and have multiple people sit in it. We had the four main iconic ones, which we still have to this day, the trucks, and obviously the two cars as well. This included the gas can and the gas pumps, which were also added in this update as well to be features of the cars. Some more notable comments which I want to mention here are going to be the Marauders, which were just so annoying. I just really didn't like them. And Aquaman's introduction, introducing Coral Castle, which is one of the main POIs this season and chapter. Then we finally got a teaser for the next season where we saw Thor's hammer on the ground, and we even had no live event. But that was okay because we possibly had the best season ever right round the corner for us, that being Season 4. Season 4 starts with Galactus appearing in the sky. He sensed the 0 point after the black hole event, came to our island and wanted it. We see lots of comics and details about this. We're not going to go into the exact lore, but he basically comes here with Thor to get access to that 0 point. However, we've got to stop him, so we summon all our Avengers. The whole entire battle pass is a collab theme, which is amazing, all being Marvel, and the season starts. We get the introduction with a bunch of new mythics, which I'll show some background gameplay of because there's absolutely tons, from Brute's Bramble, Silver Surfer, Doom's Gauntlets, and just many more. We also get the introduction of Stark Industries' energy rifle and the legendary fishing rod with the fire trap. But POI wise, we get some major ones. We get obviously lots of Crash Sentinels on the ground as well from the X-Men series. We also get the Hellcarrier as the spawn island. Pleasant Park becomes Doom's domain. We even get Galactus himself, who you can see in the sky slowly approaching us, ready for that live event at the end. Stark also comes up with his plans to spawn Stark Industries, and lots of other POIs are removed. Basically the whole map is completely revamped. Doom becomes a boss as well. Dr. Doom and his henchmen are here at Doom's domain, and you can eliminate him for his mythical abilities, the first boss of this season. Iron Man Mr. Stark is also having lots of problems with his rift beacons, and it does spawn in many other references to Marvel stuff. We get a transport truck which references Wolverine's escape. We also get at Holy Hedges the Ant Manor from Ant-Man. We also get Black Panther's statue, which is amazing. Then we move on to version 14.10. Version 14.10 introduces Iron Man. He basically comes in through his giant big Stark Industries big landing island, whatever you want to call it. It falls in from the sky, and this is a huge POI. It introduces so many new items. It introduces Iron Man himself. It also introduces Galactus Gorges, which are after us. They want to take us out. Iron Man's Stark Industry bots are here as well as the Iron Man Unibeam, the gauntlets. Thor's hammer also makes an appearance in the Quinjets, which land down, and we get the Vendetta flopper, which reveals nearby players. And finally, the Whiplash Mark 51, which is basically a car with endless fuel. Probably one of the best updates ever, in my opinion, in Fortnite, this one. It was huge just to see that huge map change completely take over the island. It was awesome. Then we move on to version 14.20, another huge update for this season, and this one introduces Wolverine himself. So this collaboration is absolutely huge. This is where Wolverine makes his appearance in the forest. We also get the ability to eliminate Wolverine and take him on. This introduces Storm's Whirlwind, as well as Wolverine's Claws, and the Midas Flopper, which was the first reference we had kind of to Midas after he'd been eaten after the shark in Season 3. The Midas Flopper, if you don't know what it does, upgrades all your weapons to Legendary Variant, and if you don't have any, it'll give you a Golden Scar. We also have the Whiplash Super Circuit, which was just like another version of the car, which is some sort of super circuit theme. I don't know what that is, but apparently that's what we got. The birthday season was also here as well. It was time to celebrate Fortnite's birthday, so we got the introduction of presents and birthday cake around the map as well in this update. A huge update, one that I really did enjoy overall. Version 14.3 arrives, and it's not a major update. We get Black Panther's kinetic armor, which we did previously have in the Marvel Knockout game mode, which was either duos or trios, and it was similar to the Spy Games one, where each team would fight against each other, and the final best teams who survived the knockouts would face each other in a final to get the victory. A really cool kind of knockout system, which I really enjoyed, with all the Marvel powers only. And we did get that Black Panther one into the main BR from this. We also had a few other minor map changes throughout the whole map. The major one, I would say, would be the Stark Industries Battle Bus now being the actual Battle Bus, preparing for the Galactus live event, which was just round the corner. Next up, we had our next update, which was version 14.40. This one itself also was probably the biggest one, I would say, other than the actual release of the season, because it introduced the best Fortnitemares ever, in my opinion. Fortnitemares Shadow Midas. That's right, the Shadow Midas one, which was just incredible. This introduced, obviously, Shadow Midas as his boss, the Witch Broom as well. She-Hulk's fists arrived, but not only that, we even got the ability to come back after being eliminated. So this Fortnitemares basically allowed you to come back as a shadow ghost once you were eliminated, to take down the players that had taken you out as a team and try and get that victory with the shadows. It was almost guaranteed every time for the shadows to win, and it was so fun. So yeah, it was amazing. I love this Fortnitemares. Personally, it was my favorite one, and I love Shadow Midas as well with that drum gun. A lot of people didn't like it, a lot of people did. Personally, I loved it. I thought it was a really cool combo of mythics, just craziness, and just having fun. It was like Fortnite in its fun prime. We have two more updates to cover here. Quickly covering the next one, which was version 14.50, which wasn't too much. The Halloween stuff was still taking place, a few smaller map changes, and also the introduction of the Stark jetpack. Then, moving on to our final update just before the live event, version 14.60, it introduced Venom's Smash and Grab, and then we were taken in the Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds live event, which was kind of our first introduction to really us trying to protect the 0 point in an event happening right in front of us. And this was amazing. This was finally Stark at its finest. His plan had come in. We were part of it. We had to use the battle buses, control them, fly around Galactus, and then take out Galactus with Stark's plan, using all of the battle buses and basically feeding him the buses, causing him to completely explode and save the 0 point. And that was the end of Season 4, my favourite season in Fortnite to this day. If you enjoyed part 1 and would like to see part 2 from Season 5 to 8, hit that like button. Let's aim for 8,000 likes, because that's how many seasons there were in Chapter 2 originally. I've ended it here just because Remix is only showcasing Season 1 to 3, and we just had the Marvel season. I'm releasing this literally on the day Remix is out. We've had the event and everything, so I thought it would only be kind of ideal really just to end it here, because there's no point of showing 5 to 8 if they're not featured in remakes. If you'd like to see season 5 to 8 though, like I said, let's aim for 8,000 likes. Don't forget to try out the maps on screen. I'll see you guys inside of them. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Peace.